Hey everyone, as I promised, I'm jumping on to create a 2-month update, and it's kind of just over 2 months, about 2 months and just under a week. So 2-ish months, and I'm making this quickly because I need to step out the door and go teach. So it's the start of the term for post-secondary educators, and so I've given myself 10 minutes, let's make this video and give everyone a little update. So I'm going to share what I completed, as well as some of the insights I had going through the process of self-college's doctorate, and some of the challenges that I had as well. So at the beginning of the program, I started by doing about an assignment a day, and then I moved to about 2 assignments a day, and then I switched back to just recently more 1 assignment a day as I'm preparing for teaching and whatnot, and I knew this was going to happen, but I'm happy to say that I'm in the 6th course now, and I know that's pretty remarkable getting that much done. I should just mention everyone, I worked part-time during most of the summer, so I had a lot of time dedicated to my doctoral studies. I know that's not typical to get through this many, and I can say that it was definitely a whirlwind within my mind to get all of that done, just consistently day by day, keeping myself moving through the assignments. It's definitely doable. It just takes a lot of dedication and concentration to get that much work done. When I finished the 4th course, which everyone deemed as one of the harder courses or more tedious courses because there was a lot of writing, which I didn't find. I found it to be actually an enjoyable course. It was on communication strategies. I learned a lot about my way of communicating with others. There was a whole topic around crucial conversations that I thought was really vital to any type of professional. So I really enjoyed it, but I could see myself kind of getting tired by the end of that course, and then jumping into the 5th course where it was in the specialization that I'm in. It kind of threw me off a little bit because I needed a bit of a break, and so I could tell that I needed to slow down, and I did. I actually took a couple days off in between the 4th and 5th course. Also, the instructor had a really detailed eye for APA formatting, and things that my other instructors weren't catching, he was catching, and that's not a bad thing. If anything, that's a really good thing. But it just kind of slowed down my process and made me feel like, oh, maybe I'm not at that kind of doctoral writing level, academic writing level quite yet that I thought I was. And I was getting a lot of applause from my past instructors, but there's always room for improvement, I realized. Also, I found the assignments a little bit more comprehensive, or there's just a lot more substance to the specialization course that I took. In essence, I had to build a course, and that was a lot of different steps and thinking and research involved, so it was just a lot more work. Something that I kind of realized is it's really easy to overthink the mountain that we're climbing as doctoral students and to get in our own head. When I felt like I was about halfway or moving into the halfway mark around the 5th course, I felt really overwhelmed, like, oh my gosh, I've done so much, I've been working so hard. I mean, literally hours upon hours a day, between 3 to 5 hours a day, and I knew I still had so much to do, and I was like, how am I going to keep myself motivated? So I definitely got in my head, I would say, around the 5th course, like, oh, is this something I really want to be doing? Do I really want to be spending the rest of my summer and moving into the teaching term, doing all this doctoral studies? But I think it's very easy to get into one's head, and just being aware of that is important so you can catch your mind. And try not to think, in my experience, try not to think about every single task you have to do, or even all the rest of the courses. What I ended up having to do was just literally think assignment by assignment and not let my mind drift beyond that. I did come to a realization as well, is that there was a little bit of challenge with some of the assignments because the instructions were quite vague, but then I kind of came to an epiphany that, like, oh, maybe the assignments are vague on purpose at the doctoral level, or they're just not super specific, so that we as the doctoral students can create a framework for ourselves for navigating the different instructions and assignments, and then seeking help if we need it, or finding the information where we need it, finding the resources where we need them. And so I think when I came to that realization, that made me feel a little bit more engaged in the process, because for a while I felt frustrated that I didn't really fully understand the instructions. And I did realize that with WGU, they're a little bit more detailed with steps. In this case, there might be a little bit more of a broad view of something with some particulars. One of the most broad, wide assignments was literally having to read up to like 7 or 8 or even 9 chapters in a textbook and having to just create a paper around it and relating it to my work. And it's really up to me as the doctoral student to think about what is most relevant to write about. And over time, I really started to like that process. It just takes getting used to, I would say. Also, the learning resources aren't always fully applicable and they're not always the most up-to-date and recent. I think it would take a lot of work for them to have to constantly update these academic articles that they give to us or certain readings. I do notice that some of them are up-to-date, like within the last 5 years. There is definitely an expectation at the specialization courses, at least, to source what you're writing about, but using sources and research from the last 5 years to make it up to date. And so sometimes it's hard to use those learning resources that they provide you with. However, that just encouraged me to go find my own resources. And over time, I just got used to that. So for moving on, as I'm teaching now, I have more of a involvement in my career because before I was taking it a bit easy during the summer while working a little bit part-time. I know that I will have to be careful with my time and energy because it's a lot of brain power and concentration and just thinking and motivation when you are trying to work 3 to 5 hours a day on your papers. And when I say work 3 to 5 hours, it is concentrating, no distractions, completely focused and efficient. That may have to slow down a bit, but I'm still going to try to aim to do an assignment a day if possible, but I'm not going to stress if I'm not able to do that. I mean, I'm not trying to do this program in one term. I don't even think that's possible because the dissertation will probably take 1 full term as well based on how they lay out the assignments for revisions. But, moving into the 6th course, now I'm kind of feeling pretty confident with all the expectations in the assignments. And I'm sure if you are that far along, you understand what I mean. It takes time to just get comfortable with doctoral level writing, interpreting the assignments, and just feeling good about what you're doing. Because sometimes it's like, wait, am I on the right track? But you do get a lot of feedback from your instructors. I think my camera shut off there, so I'll just try to say what I'm saying. Sometimes the feedback isn't concept specific, like if you're talking about a leadership theory or a communication theory or an adult education theory, the feedback from the instructors, I feel like doesn't pinpoint those alignments between your knowledge and that theory or whatnot. A lot of the time, the feedback is on the writing and the construction of the writing. And if you are missing some kind of part of the rubric, they'll point that out. If they do talk about a concept or theory, I find it more about including something that might be missing, like including a theory. Maybe you didn't include some sort of concept or principle to back up what you're saying. But so far, I haven't got a lot of feedback on the actual conceptual theoretical problems that I'm writing about or whatnot, or issues or whatever you want to call them. Anyways, I hope that was interesting and motivating for those who think that they want to push themselves like I did to complete 5 courses in a couple months or just over a couple months. I hope your schooling is going well, and I will see you in another video.